Hey all, welcome to Car Talk, and this is episode 13, and I know what y'all are thinking, like, 13 episodes in 3 days? What the fuck, Michael? Tone it down a bit. But, no, I'm here. I like doing videos, even if they're shitty quality, so I'm gonna keep doing videos every single day, at least one. Today, I've done a whole bunch because I've had a lot to talk about in very little time. Now today, I got an idea for what to talk about, and it's more politics. So if you don't like politics, you can skip this video, but that's okay. So, as I told you all already, I'm a libertarian, and I'm a member of the Libertarian Party. But y'all might want to know where my values align precisely, who my values align with the most, who my values align with the least. So, just a few days ago, I took the test on isidewith.org or isidewith.com. It's one of the two. And I side with Ron Paul 93% of the time. I side with Austin Peterson 93% of the time. I side with Gary Johnson 87% of the time. That's why I'm a libertarian. Now I side with Donald Trump 53% of the time. I side with Andrew Yang more than 60% of the time. I side with Tulsi Gabbard 50% of the time. And candidates I side with the least: Joe Biden 23%, Amy Klobuchar just over 20%. Also Marianne Williamson just over 20%. So there's where I stand with the candidates. So you can kind of see why I choose to be a member of the Libertarian Party rather than the Democratic or Republican Party. Now, back in 2008, I was only 7 years old. But back in 2008, I agreed with the Republican presidential nominee more than 70% of the time. So, I suppose I could go with the famous presidential phrase of Richard Nixon, but rather than the Democratic Party, I did not leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left me, with a few exceptions. I left the Republican Party because the Republicans don't oppose the war on drugs as strongly as I do. They aren't as anti-intervention as I am. They aren't as pro-immigration as I am. They aren't as pro-LGBTQ as I am. But for the most part, I used to agree with Republicans more than Democrats, but that gap is very slowly shifting as Republicans are supporting protectionism. Republicans are supporting gun control. Republicans are supporting huge, unnecessary government spending left and right, right? It started with George Bush in 2000. I disagree with George Bush a lot. So I suppose there was a split between 2000. I disagreed with the Republicans on a bunch. 2008, I got back on track. I agree with the Republicans a little more. 2012, less. Mitt Romney, he's a disaster, let's be honest. And now he's my senator, so fuck. But anyway, it started with George Bush with the NSA and the surveillance state, the unnecessary, unjust war on terror, where we have thousands of people, even millions of people who enlisted in the military and then were tricked into killing a whole bunch of innocent people. And between Obama, Bush, Trump, we have dozens of drone bombings, hundreds of them, where we kill thousands of people. And this is where I say enough is enough. I am a vehemently anti-war candidate, and that's why, while I disagree with her on a lot of policies, I would side with Tulsi Gabbard over Donald Trump or Barack Obama or Joe Biden or George Bush any day. With that being said, while I am a philosophical libertarian and I'm currently aligned with the Libertarian Party, I don't have a problem with Democrats or Republicans who are also more libertarian or more classically liberal. For example, there was a man named Hal Schaus who ran for U.S. Senate in Georgia this year, but he didn't have enough funds, so he dropped out very quickly, unfortunately. But Hal Schaus ran as a Democrat, but he's vehemently pro Second Amendment. He's in favor of balancing the federal budget. In fact, he supports legislating. He supports making a law that requires congressmen to submit a balanced budget in every bill, which I think is an excellent idea. It's incredible. Mr. Schaus, I applaud you amazingly. In addition to being anti-war, anti-drug war, Mr. Schaus is an excellent example of a fabulous Democrat, a wonderful Democrat. It's sad that there are so few of them left. Republicans, as I mentioned, Thomas Massie, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, right? There's a few, but overall, I think it's a safe bet that at least until the Republican Party gets better, my alignment will remain with the Libertarian Party and the Libertarian movement. Ron Paul ran as a Republican in 2008 and 2012, but he only gathered like 5% of the Republican base. So you can sort of tell from that alone that Republicans aren't very interested in Dr. Paul. And unfortunately, in 2008, the Libertarian Party had a terrible presidential candidate who's also a protectionist, who's also a fucking neocon. He's literally a Republican. And the Libertarian Party in particular has a really, really bad problem with nominating former Republicans. I don't have a huge problem with Gary Johnson or Bill Weld because I agree with them on more than 80% of issues. But there's a lot of stigma among libertarians because our party, which is supposed to be the party of principle, it's supposed to stand for non-aggression, self-ownership, fiscal responsibility, and social tolerance. But, we continue to nominate candidates who don't believe in the non-aggression principle, or refuse to even, right? When Gary Johnson was asked about the non-aggression principle, he literally said he wasn't smart enough. The Libertarian Party has gotten candidates like, what is Aleppo? Gary Johnson. Sticking his tongue out in the middle of a fucking interview. Gary Johnson. Fucking embarrassment. Gary Johnson. Well, he seems like a really, really nice guy. He really needs to get off the fucking weed. With that being said, again, Gary is a far better alternative than Trump, and let alone Hillary Clinton, right? Back in 2016, there's no way in hell anyone should still stand with Hillary Clinton. She's one of the most corrupt, one of the most evil, lifelong politicians of all time. But hey, they'll tell you it's a two-party system, so you have to vote for one of us. Is that why Gary Johnson got 4.5 million views in the 2016 election, which is 4 times the record for the Libertarian Party? Is that why Jill Stein got 1.5 million views in the 2016 election, which is also way, way more than the Green Party's record? The fact is, in 2016, the Democratic and Republican parties both nominated two of the worst, most disgraceful, most disgusting, most divisive, most terrible candidates of all time. And both of them got over 60 million views because the media kept cheering them on left and right. Donald Trump is involved in countless scandals, right? From Trump University, and he's also, right, from Trump University to Russiagate to I don't know if all of it is a hoax, but I know that he's been involved in a number of scandals as a business owner, and I don't think we should trust that kind of person as commander-in-chief. Hillary Clinton bombed the shit out of other countries. She started a war for fun, for her own damn pleasure. She's a war con. She's a neocon. She doesn't belong in the Democratic Party at all. Hell, the anti-war left, I think it's so funny, the anti-war left is coming back after 8 years of Barack Obama. Okay, Obama continued the regime change wars of Bush. He expanded them. He drone bombed millions and millions of people in the Middle East. So is Trump now. Whoever the 2020 president is, whether it's Donald Trump or the Democratic nominee, the chances are they're not going to stop these wars. They're not going to stop the war on drugs. They're not going to do anything to shrink government power, government infringements on our personal lives, government irresponsibility in the fiscal zone. They haven't in decades. And that is why we need third-party candidates now more than ever. Talking about the Libertarian Party candidates. My favorite is Jacob Hornberger. It's very unfortunate that Mr. Hornberger isn't very well known, but I love him. He's the president of the Future of Freedom Foundation. He's a fantastic man, a fantastic candidate, and I hope he wins the nomination. My second favorite candidate is Miss Kim Ruff. Miss Kimberly Ruff is a wonderful woman, a lifelong liberty advocate, and would make a phenomenal nominee. I'd be very happy with her. My third favorite has got to be Max Abramson. Now, while I disagree with Max on a few issues, I think he's a very respectable man, and he can appeal to people on both sides, because he's one of the only candidates who is a lawmaker. He's in New Hampshire, and he's fantastic at what he does. He's a firm advocate of liberty and a proud libertarian. So I like Mr. Abramson. As I mentioned earlier, Adam Kokesh. I like his principles. I don't like his policies. It's just not plausible. As awesome as he is, even though he's involved in quite a few scandals as well, it's just his ideas, his policies are not plausible. So, right, localization is a fantastic idea, but you can't do it in the way that Mr. Kokesh proposes. It's just not possible. One of probably my least favorite of all the libertarian candidates, but who is probably going to win the nomination given the history of this party, is Lincoln Chafee. Lincoln Chafee announced his campaign for President of the United States, I believe it was last week. And so he is officially running for President of the United States. It had been expected for a long time now, for over a year now, that he was running, but he had never officially announced that he was running. Now he has officially announced that he's running for President of the United States. He has an official website, and I'm sure he's going to start advertising, and he's going to expand his website soon. Mr. Chafee, he was a Republican, he was an independent, he was a Democrat. In terms of party flipping, he's worse than Donald Trump. Now, still I agree with him on over 80% of the issues. So he would still be ideal over the Democratic candidate or over Donald Trump, or please help me, Bill Weld or Joe Walsh, both of whom are running for president under the Republican ticket but aren't getting nearly enough media attention, aren't getting nearly enough funding, and the GOP isn't even having a primary in most states. So the chances of these two winning the nomination is literally none, but they're still running against Donald Trump as Republicans. Because they can, I guess. But anyway, right. Mr. Chafee is still a good alternative compared to the Democrat or the Republican candidate. But on the other hand, while I disagree with him on quite a few issues, I would vote for Bill Weld or Joe Walsh over the Libertarian Party nominee in an instant. But I would not vote for Donald Trump. Okay, so those are pretty much my thoughts. It's been almost 15 minutes now, so I'm going to leave this video at that. I want to know your thoughts in the comments. I want you to please like this video if you like it. Share it with your friends, those who might be interested in this video. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. I post videos every single day, so you're never going to not have content to watch from me, because there's always going to be something. The new series is going well, by the way. I've got 2 episodes up already, and if you guys are interested in those, you should give that a check as well, a watch as well. I'm I've interviewed two fantastic individuals already, and I hope you guys will watch. It's called Campus Talk Interviews. So with that being said, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that jazz. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!